welcome to the road to the summit. We're getting close, very close. We're in October now, less than a month out, October 28th through the 30th at the Hyatt Regency. They're in Orlando, Florida. It is going to be an awesome summit, lots of networking, a lot of deals getting done on the floor between brokers and carriers. Freight is going to be covered, and education is going to be in full force and a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have the Battle of the Bands at the House of Blues. We are going to have the networking events. We can have lunch and lanes during the afternoon, so at lunchtime. If you're interested in flatbeds, you can go in the flatbed room. Drive-ins, go in the drive-in room. Reefers, you guessed it, you go into the reefer room, and you meet refrigerated carriers, refrigerated brokers, flatbed brokers, flatbed carriers. It is set up to win more business, and win more business all the way around, and to educate all of us. The FMCSA is going to be doing an update. We have some great panels. We're talking to Kristy Knichel today with Knichel Logistics, and she's going to do the Women in Logistics panel. We have Kaleb Groce. He's going to be doing hiring and onboarding and the true cost of freight panels as well. And then we have Craig Allan with BWS Logistics. That'll be his second time coming to the conference, and he's excited to meet carriers. He's always, he had a great time in Indianapolis and very productive, and he'll be back in Orlando. And actually, representatives from BWS has been to every single broker carrier summit, and we'll learn why they keep coming back. There'll be a market update paneled by yours truly here, and we'll be talking about what to expect going into 2026 and whether we're going to see a turnaround in the freight market or not. Doesn't matter at the end of the day, because we are in freight and we got to power through and do the things that build our businesses, that make us more margin, make us more productive, more effective. And that starts with the Broker Carrier Summit and networking there. Special shout out to Thai Software, who they sponsored the Road to the Summit, our preview shows that lead up to the summits, and Orlando is coming up next. But without any further ado, let's talk to our guests, and let's start it off with Kristy Knichel over at Knichel Logistics. And we're going to open up the show here with our first very special guest. It is none other than Kristy Knichel from Knichel Logistics. She's the CEO over there and a longtime supporter of the Broker Carrier Summit. Kristy, how are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. This will be at least your fourth BCS, I believe.
I think it's my third, but it'll be my brother's fourth.
That's
so as
right.
a company, yeah.
Always enjoy seeing you out, all the industry events, but especially the Broker Carrier Summit. What keeps bringing you guys back time after time again?
I mean, I think networking, period, is always good to network with other people in the industry. And I think having it in different areas where you get to meet different people and clearly carriers that can help us with our business on our truckload side. And there's also been some dray carriers for like port work or intermodal that have showed up as well. So I think it's great to be able to meet all these different people in general and in different parts of the industry.
It is. We have some great carriers out there. If you're a freight broker, you get a great carrier base that comes out, shows up, and loads get covered there. I'm sure you guys have probably covered a few loads while you're at the conference itself, or at the summit itself.
Yep, we've actually met with a few carriers that are now hauling freight for us from meeting them at the show. So I think that's important. I think the other part of it too is just meeting them and hearing what their needs are. I'd like to connect them with other companies that I know that could probably help them as well, because I do think it's important that we help find our carriers' business when the market's been the way it has for so long. I think going on 3 years now. So again, I think teaming up with them, regardless of them just helping you, but if I know someone that can, use their services, I want to connect them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was connecting a couple liquid tanker. Right, he had a couple liquid tanker
Yep.
trucks, and he was having a hard time finding the right freight broker. And I was taking him around and introduced him to some people that I knew that did the liquid bullet, which is a big niche.
Yeah, now I agree. I mean, I think it's important because, again, sometimes these companies don't know who to go to because there's so many brokers that are out there, and certain ones specialize in different industries or modes, I should say, of transportation. So, again, like I have a huge network and I just love to connect people if it's not something that's going to, benefit our company and not carrier, but what can we do to help you with someone else?
And a big thing for carriers too, especially small fleets, owner operators, is finding the right freight brokers to work with. And that's where the BCS comes in because the brokers that are out there are the good ones to work with, right? Everyone's giving up their time. They're shelling out some money to get to Orlando or Indianapolis or Kansas City or Dallas, wherever it may be, to find better partners or good partners, and also for the education and the networking that comes along with it.
Yeah, and I think the other part of it too is just kind of trying to repair, I think, a relationship that I think we all feel is kind of broken because there's some carriers out there that don't feel so great about some brokers and having to remind them that not all of us brokers are the same and a lot of us are different. There's good ones, there's bad ones, and to your point, ones that are going to pay to come and try to connect with these carriers, I think is important.
It is very important. And also, you are part of the Women in Logistics arm of the Broker Carrier Summit. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, I was asked by Dan to be part of the founding group of women alongside Dawn, Melanie, Melissa, and Ingrid to really build a women in logistics group presence with this summit. And I am very passionate about that and helping women in the industry and have done, a podcast empowering women into logistics, which I think is important to bring us together. And so we worked on that for quite a while. And now we've grown. I think we're close to 100 members that have joined up. And we want to be able to put out education, mentoring, helping each other, just learning from each other, whatever we can to grow that community, make them feel like they belong. And then also, just bringing other events together, scholarship fund for Brittany Taylor. That's another thing that we're going to be trying to raise money for, which is really important. She was a driver that had lost her life
Oh,
right before the show, the last show in Indianapolis, unfortunately. So it's extremely important for me, and I know the other women that are part of it, to really push this forward. And we have new two co-chairs that will be presenting at this event in Orlando just to talk more about the mission that's there. So I think we have a really great group of women and a lot of ideas and very organized. So I'm excited to really present that when we get there.
yeah, and you guys will be doing a panel. I if it's not on the agenda right now, it will be, and there'll be a time for that. We're discussing exactly when that might be before we hit record, but it will definitely be happening along with a Women in Logistics podcast that you'll have a part in. You might not be the regular host week in and week out, but you definitely have a lot of say and a lot of
Yep.
screen time, no matter what, with that. So that'll be great as well. What else are you looking forward to on this specific summit in Orlando coming up?
I mean, again, I think it's just reaching out and talking with new people, maybe people we have never met before. Again, this industry is big, but it's small, and I know a lot of people, but I'd love being able to meet new people, whether they're carriers, vendors, other brokers. I love talking to them about what they're doing, what's working well, what's not, just what's happening with their company, my company, having those conversations. I really believe that networking is extremely important for any person or company that's out there, no matter what your role is, because it's really helped me in my career. So, that's something I'm really looking forward to, and meeting with all the other women members that show up, I think is important too, and show support. Because again, when I grew up in the industry, this didn't exist. I didn't really have anyone to lean on for a very long time. And I think being able to build this up is extremely important to give back.
It is, and it's something that you've done. I mean, I've been around about 10 years, and you are out there building your personal brand. When I first came out and started hitting the shows and doing my networking as well, and it's been an inspiration. I think I met you after a TIA panel that you did
Yeah.
back long, long time ago. It seems like these days.
Yeah. That's
But yeah,
kind of
it's
what my
important.
job was. Get out there, get on the boards that you can get on, be a part of the panel, speaking, put yourself out there. I encourage that so much because, again, you learn from other people. And no matter how long you've been in the industry, and I'm in my 28th year, I just continue to learn more and more. It's very interesting to say the least.
It is, and networking pays dividends. Jason Roberts and I were joking in Dallas. We were at the golf tournament in Dallas before the BCS. And the old saying, your network is your net worth.
It is. I absolutely agree. I will say when I started building my LinkedIn up in general and then being able to go to these events and really coming out of my comfort zone of speaking, because that is not something that I wanted to do at all for a long time. And I used to have panic attacks, to be honest,
Yeah,
before I'd go on stage.
same.
Yeah. And it's something that over time, though, that truly you get better at and it gets easier, I would say. But in the same token, now, because I've done it for so long and built that network that I have, I just can't even tell you how much it's paid off in dividends of, again, I don't expect something in return when I'm, hooking people up that can help each other. But it always comes back to you in the end. It builds your brand. People, look to you as someone they want to be like. And people used to say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be like Kristy. And these are people that are older than me. Even. So it's kind of funny to hear that. But I just feel like if more of us do this, we can all help each other because there's enough business out there for all of us. Let's
Yeah.
help each other build our, books of business, build our skill sets, and just learn from each other.
Do good things will happen.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is. It definitely will. Well, Christy, thanks so much for dropping by on the road to the summit with us today. And if our audience wants to reach out, learn more about you, maybe set up some time to talk with you or get on your radar for Orlando, how do they go about doing that?
They can reach out to me via email at knichel@knichellogistics.com. We're also on LinkedIn and have a website as well just to check us out. But, certainly reach out and I will be more than happy to talk with you.
Perfect. Thanks so much again.
Yeah, thank you.
And we have our next guest lined up here on the road to the summit, the Broker Carrier Summit coming up in Orlando, October 28th through the 30th. And it is none other than Kaleb Groce. He is the Director of Operations over at Royal Transport and Royal Logistics. Kaleb, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Kevin, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Looking forward to see where we go with this thing.
I know, right? So you're Director of Operations for both the brokerage side and the asset side. I have a couple questions about the asset side, and you had a interesting trip that we're going to dive into just the other day. But on the logistics side, or because it's flipped,
Yeah,
we were
right.
talking about just then.
hmm
At Royal, how many trucks do you guys run?
102.
102.
hmm
And what kind of trailers do you guys?
So we do drive in and heated drive in. So
Okay.
protect it from freeze.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hmm
Well, very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you recently went out to Washington, D.C. Was it last week? Right?
No, it's actually just this 2 days ago,
This week.
last Tuesday.
Two
Yeah.
days ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I just got back
Yeah.
last night. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the TCA and other
hmm
organizations to go out and talk about the trucking industry, what did you
Yeah.
learn? You're out there actually the day before the government shutdown.
We did. Yeah. Um, it's kind of funny. Like you learn that a government shutdown is not really a shutdown. Um, the staff still goes to work every day, which I would have never known that. Like, I'm not a politician, don't claim to be. Uh, but, uh, but it's you learn how much your congressmen, senators, House of Representatives, they do support the trucking industry. Um, but then you also learn there are people out there that have no earthly idea. You know, um, we're talking about like the federal gas tax, right? Federal gas tax on diesel has not been touched. Probably the only tax in America that hasn't been touched since 1993. I mean, it's mind blowing. And then I found out, which I kind of knew this, but it just embedded it. Most people don't even know they pay a gas tax. They just know what their price per gallon cost. They have no idea how you get there. So, and you're trying to figure out where different funding comes from for roads and bridges and infrastructure, and yeah, it's a whole different political world. But it's a once in a lifetime type of thing. It's if you ever get the chance to go do it, whether it be TIA does it as well, TCA does it. If you ever get the chance to go do it, take full advantage of it.
That's a good piece of advice because I'd never done the done any of those, right? And I
Sure.
know TIA just did theirs maybe last month,
Yeah, I
and
think this is what beginning of September or something. I think it
something like
was.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that yeah, that sounds
Mm-hmm.
about right. Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who go do that, but I just
Mm-hmm.
haven't done it. Maybe I should.
It, it
Maybe.
it's eye opening. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's your all your meetings are set for you. You go there with an agenda. You go there with a schedule. They give you your talking points, and you just
Yeah,
you do it all day long,
yeah, yeah. Just grind and hustle.
pretty much. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
and then like you and Kristy were talking about earlier, man. You network with it too.
yeah.
It's there's more there's carriers out there. So
Mm-hmm.
you guys are spot on with your networking. That's where it's at.
It is. It is. That's the reason why the Broker Carrier Summit is such a success. Is
Mm-hmm.
it's networking. It's immediate results in that networking
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times it takes years or maybe months or kind of very
Yeah.
indirect networking. You should always be out there because it does pay off, as Kristy was saying. But
Mm-hmm.
I like the Broker Carrier Summit because that networking turns into to real deals right
It
there. Have
does.
you been out to a Broker Carrier Summit before?
Yeah. So this will be my third.
You third, right? So the
Yeah.
last three,
So
or
no. So this will be my third. So my first was Fort Worth,
okay,
and then Indy, of
yep,
course, and then this one. Yeah.
it's
So I guess the
very
only one
good.
I haven't been to was what Tampa and Kansas
Tampa,
City. I think. What? Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. Yep. Those
yeah,
were the
Tampa
only
and
two.
Kansas City, yeah, and then
Mm-hmm.
the original in Indianapolis,
Well,
which
yeah,
was the
the
original,
OG,
yes,
the OG, we'll call it the OG Broker
yes.
Carrier Summit. But yeah, no, that one obviously I wasn't a part of. But no, I've been to
Yeah.
counting this one the last three. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Very, very good. So,
Mm-hmm.
what keeps bringing you back?
It's just the networking. I've met, since we started going to this in Fort Worth last October.
Yeah.
Um, I've met some of my better friends in the industry through this.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think, well, they can't do anything for me, but guess what? Somebody they know might be able to do something
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
So it's all about networking.
Yeah.
It's all about the scalability of your company too, right? A lot of people don't think about it that way, right? So we've grown Royal from, we'll call it, we've grown Royal 120% in the past 6 years.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
but that does not come without networking. Being able
Yeah.
to talk to people, finding deals through a vendor, finding vendors out there that can help you scale your business, can
Mm-hmm.
make you run more efficient, can make you run more profitable. So I always like to point that out. Like, don't a lot of carriers and brokers too. They close their mind off to vendors.
Yeah.
Right. And don't sell yourself short by doing that. I'm not saying you got to have a 30-minute meeting with every one of them, but just chat, find out what they do. You never know.
You never know. And it might not be a fit right now, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind because, you go through you double, or 120% increase over 6 years. You need new solutions all the time. You need new ways of doing things. You need new ways to scale up your operations, right? And it's good to know that vendor market and to be an expert yourself about what's out there, what's available, what can you do.
Yeah, I mean, there's been many times where I'll be looking at something and I'll be like, I had a business card one time with somebody who did that. So then I go flipping through my business cards. I'm, oh, there it is right there. And it might have been 2 years ago since I got that business
Yeah.
card, but so that's what I'm saying. It's just all about the networking and then trying to bridge that gap of trust between brokers and carriers. I mean, it's an ingenious idea, right? Like
Yeah.
to bring it together and try to bridge that gap because there is such a stigma between the two. Trying to get brokers to understand that they're needed by carriers, right? And trying to get the carriers to understand, yes, carriers are important, but there is a spot for brokers in this industry. So just trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
And
you said a unique position in that, right?
I
Because
do.
you're director of operations for both the asset side and the brokerage side.
Yes. Yeah. So that's different than a lot of companies, we scaled that way just based off of basically to have one voice, one voice of management. So I can literally get both companies on the same page, be able to seamlessly move stuff around and move stuff back and forth. And it only makes sense to us. You go out and you sell it as a whole instead of like one person selling brokerage, one person selling carrier, right? So, that's something we did a few years ago, and man, it works.
Yeah, it's a good. I wish more companies did that really instead of
I mean,
separating it out. Totally,
yeah.
and I understand why you separated it out.
But it all comes down to like what we were talking about, right? Because brokers and carriers are going to do this at times, right?
Yep.
Well, you don't want your intercompanies doing this ever.
No.
So, it's just that's the nature of how it goes, right? So if you have one management team across the whole organization, it's seemed to me that was the fairest way to do it. It made the most sense to me. But yeah.
Yeah, and on the sales and marketing side, right? I mean, you're selling a solution, right? And that solution includes both, company trucks and non-company trucks and providers, right? I mean, it's hard to really separate it out, and it's a completely different strategy. Let's put it that way. And sometimes it's easier that way. Sometimes it's harder that way. It just depends on how your organization moves, really.
Yeah, it's all about working as one, right? Like that's how you ultimately, any business, I don't care what industry it is, if you can get everybody to work as one, you're going to be fine. Like you're going to be able to make it, you're going to be able to sustain over the test of time if everybody's working at one. But if me and you are in the same company and you're pulling this way and I'm pulling this way, that does not meet here. It goes this way. So it doesn't work.
It doesn't at all.
Right.
What are you looking forward to the most in Orlando?
I just I'm sitting on a couple of panels, which is really cool. I'm sitting on some panels where people I've never sat on panels before, and I've sat on panels in Fort Worth and last year. And in Indy.
What topics are you covering?
So I'm sitting on a panel with about the true cost of freight between brokers and carriers. That's moderated by Jessica Dotson. There's some really good panelists on that. And then the other one is how to scale hiring with Wasim and I forget the other guys. Yeah, with Wasim and the other guy's name. I don't remember his name, but so I sit we're doing a couple really cool panels down there, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it and just helping, like, just seeing, this industry is not a lot. It's fun, but it ain't a lot of fun right now, right? Like we all know that. Like that's not. So just seeing it, meeting people, figure out how we can try to make everybody efficient, everybody get along, so that we're going for the one common goal, and that's literally work all together and make transportation as good as we can make it.
Yeah, that's the key, right? And it takes communication, but once you have that communication, that education out of the way, you start running together, and that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, the pieces start to come together pretty quick once you You meet people, you know, who can help you, who can't help you.
Yeah,
Just who can give me advice on this, who can give me advice on this. And I think that's another thing people miss is don't assume that just because somebody won't buy something from you or, you can't sell them something that they can't give you advice on how to do something.
exactly
One thing
right.
I have learned the more and more I get involved with like the TCA, you know, um, and the more and more you talk to like these mega carriers,
Hmm.
I haven't met one that's not willing to help me on an operational
Yeah.
question that I have, and we're talking the biggest carriers in the country.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's one thing that I always say is no matter the size of your company or the size of my company, if you have a question about how to make something more efficient,
Hmm.
don't be intimidated by the size of a company somebody runs. Because
Yeah.
in transportation, I have figured out that most people are more than willing to give advice. That's not secret stuff 9 times out of 10.
You're
Um,
exactly right.
so
I
just
think
ask, like, and I think that's just the bowl of knowledge that is at a broker carrier summit on all levels is makes me. I mean, that's it's invaluable.
it is it's great advice too, because you find a lot of successful companies, successful people within those companies, outside of
Mm-hmm.
those companies. They're the ones who give the best advice, and they're always willing to. They're
Yeah.
always willing to share because they've been through the struggles that you're going through right now, probably.
Right.
Trying to scale, trying to get bigger,
Mm-hmm.
and that they have a lot of sage advice to
Mm-hmm.
give.
Yeah, I think I mentioned to somebody yesterday. I said, 100 trucks, 3 trucks, 10 trucks. We all have the same problems, just on different scales. So
Hmm.
at one point or another, anybody that's in our position, mine or Christy's position for that matter, right?
Yep.
Um, we have dealt with those problems you're dealing with at some point in our career. So, I mean, it's just we do it on bigger scales,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Definitely right. Um,
Yeah.
Well, Caleb, thanks for dropping by and sitting down with us here at the Road to the Summit. Headed to the Broker Carrier Summit here in just a few short weeks. We're down
Yeah.
under a month until we're all out in Orlando having a drink,
Mm-hmm.
doing the Battle of the Bands
Yep.
and networking, but all the educational content, the panels, the agenda. If you haven't registered yet, go register now. It is going to be a blast. And how does our audience reach out and learn more and contact you directly for maybe a little sage advice from
Yeah.
Mr. Kaleb Groce?
Yeah. Yeah. So you can hit me up on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I think it's awesome. You get a lot of good advice off of there. You can always
Hmm.
email me, mgross@royallogistics.net. I answer my emails. I'll answer LinkedIn. Reach out, want advice, got any questions on anything? I'm a fairly open book. So
Perfect.
yeah. Well, thanks for
Perfect.
having me, Kevin. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you out in Orlando. Until then,
Absolutely.
take care.
See you, man.
And our next guest is Craig Allan. He's with BWS Logistics. This will be his second Broker Carrier Summit. We met in Indianapolis a few months ago. It was a pleasure. Known Rob Bussey that works over there with you at BWS for a long time. Great guy, and it was good to finally meet Mr. Craig Allan. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. We're within a month of being out in Orlando doing the Broker Carrier Summit, and it's always a special event to me because it's very authentic, and I like to see deals get done at the conference. It's always fun. As I said, we met in Indianapolis. That was your first one. You'll be back out in Orlando here in the coming weeks. And what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the folks that I saw last time. Made some good connections with some carriers. Also, some good kind of workshopping and some questions with other brokers. It was just the community vibe was really interesting when I was there in Indianapolis, and I wanted to continue that in Orlando. I'm also bringing one of my other team members with me, so
Nice.
that runs the carrier sales side of our team. So that way they can kind of get a better understanding, make some more connections on some of the stuff we have going on, and hopefully everybody gets some business out of it.
Yeah, I went to my first one was in Tampa, right? And I guess that was the first official one, but before the just the hotel room. And Indianapolis was the first one at an event space, and it has that vibe, right? That vibe that was in Indianapolis was the vibe I experienced in Tampa, and I always want to continue that vibe, right? And that's important. And every time I show up, I'm like, are we still gonna have that vibe? Are we still gonna have that vibe? But it's been 4 times now, and that vibe still exists, and I think it is ingrained in the culture there. I think it's really authentic. You find a lot of authentic people, and it's different than any other event that is on all of our calendars throughout the year.
Yeah, it's more intimate. There's still a lot of people there, but you feel like you get to have real conversations, not not most of them were not like it's not like, oh, I'm hunting for business the whole time. It's like I really want to understand kind of what people are dealing with, how to kind of bridge the gaps between brokers and carriers that you sometimes see, right? Everybody's fighting for, smaller volumes right now, lower margins, everything. And so there's a little bit of tension in the community. But I think when we bring people together, especially carriers that are maybe on the smaller side, same thing with brokers that aren't huge brokers, you get to understand kind of where everybody's coming from a little bit more. And especially given right now, fraud and theft are such big issues, you can really see, and that was one of the things that I saw in Indianapolis, was how much worse the carriers have it even than the brokers do when it comes to this, and really understanding that people are out to steal their identities all day long. Yes, theft happens to brokers. We choose the wrong carrier, or that the carrier has had their identity stolen, but overall we're all sort of part of the same ecosystem, and really trying to get a better understanding of what each of us is doing and how we can really collaborate more. And I think if that's the theme that I came out of Indianapolis with, was people want to collaborate. They want to bounce ideas off of each other. They want to do more business if they can. They want to find niches that they like. And, that's what I found was exciting when I was there talking to everybody. And I hope that continues in Orlando in a few weeks.
I do too, and I think it will. I think there's a lot of empathy that goes around there. I think each side, brokers want to walk in the carrier's shoes as much as possible. The carriers want to figure out why brokers do kind of what they do sometimes, and you get into some interesting conversations in the crowd. It's very interactive. There's no rules set forth, and so you get a lot of really good audience participation, some awesome questions, right? That makes each side kind of have to stop and think. It was like, yeah, why do we do that? And you start thinking through that answer, and both sides walk away understanding each other a little bit better, and maybe making some changes on both of their ends to reduce that friction that exists in transactions.
Yeah, getting to meet people in person, and I say this the same thing on the customer side. Don't just get in your email, get on the phone, talk to these folks. They're people. Everybody has a something that they need to accomplish, but you're going to find a middle ground if you can start really meeting them on a human level. And going from email to phone, then phone to in person, is light years ahead of building relationships. And especially in the climate right now, if you can build relationships, this is where you're both going to share in success. And that's really what I drive home with my team all the time. And what I always enjoy when I go and meet people is, how do we collaborate, again, using that word, on these type of things that it might fit both of us at the same time. And, I don't need to win. I want us all to share in that success.
Yeah, you leave a lot of the antagonistic portions of the relationship, that stereotypical relationship. You push that to the side whenever you get to go to the Broker Carrier Summit, or any other venue like that, and sit down, have a coffee, have breakfast, have lunch in the, whether it's the flatbed room or the dry van room, right? You break bread, you have a drink at the end of the day with with a carrier or a broker, right? Depending on where you're at in that equation, it's much easier to do business after that. It's much, you take that antagonism away, that price, right, that we all want to get away from. You take that price out of the equation, right? You're gonna be, if you're a broker, you be, because that carrier, you're gonna give them a higher rate, and that carrier in return is gonna give you a higher service. And that's all what that we're asking for, and it gives everyone a peace of mind, right? Because you know who you're dealing with, you know who you're working with, you know who you're moving goods with, you know who you're paying. It takes a lot of stress out of all of our days.
Well, and it lowers everybody's cost, right? If you know who you can go to, talk to, and you're only spending a couple minutes on covering something, yeah, okay, it might cost you an extra $50 or depending on where the load's going, but it's going to make them happy. You're going to be happy because you're not spending 2 hours trying to cover something for $50 less when you know you have somebody that you can trust because you've met them in person. That's one of the big losses I feel since COVID is not a lot of people are able to get outside of the office anymore. And it's a big struggle for that. So these type of events are really helpful for my team especially. And that's why I'm bringing people along with me this time is you can see these folks in person and say, hey, then when you bring it back after, I can call up Kevin and say, hey, I've got this freight that we were talking about, let's do a deal here.
Yeah. You have the 2 hours of covering and then the 2 days of transit time where you're uncertain for those 2 days. It's very unpleasant, right? You rather have those 2 days with somebody that on a deeper level, right? That you've built a relationship with face to face. It's mental health wise, it's just better. But it's more efficient for everybody. It is. It is. What else are you looking forward to in Orlando? Any of the events, the Battle of the Bands, getting out there, any sessions?
I always kind of roll into it not knowing kind of what I want to do, right? Last time I didn't really look before, but had some great sessions around the sales and marketing side or the kind of the market the market recap or where we are. I'm sure those will be the type of things that I'll be interested again. But again, what broker carrier does that you don't see a lot is you actually have presenters or conversations with carriers in a session, and they'll tell you what they're seeing. Not necessarily the macro stuff. It's the micro down to the, little bit of, hey, I see this stuff on DAT all the time. You guys need to be aware of that, and that sort of thing, because, our team might not really understand what they're seeing. And then we can take it from a carrier's perspective and say, hey guys, when you see this kind of situation happening, take a step back, do a little bit more vetting, talk to them a little bit more. Because again, when you're on the phone, you're going to know who's real and who's not. It's a lot harder for them to fake it, rather than when you're doing it through an email.
It is. And that's an excellent point, right? What are the what data point is the carriers concerned about? Because it's probably a different data point than you care about. It might be a data point that you don't even think about whatsoever, right? But having that seed in and starting to pay attention to that, you develop better relationships.
Absolutely. And again, like you mentioned earlier, it's quicker when you meet them in person. When you're building a relationship on the phone, it's great. It just takes more time. Once you see them face to face, you break bread, you have a drink at the cocktail hour or whatever. Next thing you know, they remember who you are because they had that great conversation in person. And that's where the human element comes into this. And that's why these type of things are very powerful, because not everybody's doing this all the time, So having this done twice a year is incredibly helpful in my mind to better relationships with our carrier partners.
Yeah, it gives you a competitive advantage. It does. It does with that pool of carriers. Tell me a little bit about BWS. Where are you based out of, Craig?
I'm based in New Jersey. BWS is most of our critical mass is in Illinois, outside Chicago. But BWS was founded in 2018, pre-COVID. And then COVID kind of changed everything. We were originally going to be just beer, wine, and spirits transportation. That was where I come from and our team at the time. But COVID kind of made people come, just, again, relationships that we had built over 20 years in the industry. And they were like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? So, it's kind of expanded from there into different commodities that we handle. And, we're weathering the storm like everybody else is right now, but we're holding our own.
Yeah, we're all holding our own, certainly. How does our audience reach out and learn more about BWS and what you guys do and reach out and contact you directly?
Yeah, you can go to our website, bws-logistics.com. We have a comment section where it comes right to our inbox. If you want to get a hold of me, c.allan@bws-logistics.com. Or just see me at the show, say hi, and we can exchange cards and have a great conversation. That's why I go to these things, is to meet folks and folks that I wouldn't talk to on a normal day-to-day basis. I don't do a ton of the day-to-day anymore like I used to 3-4 years ago, and those are the type of things that I still value.
Well, thanks so much, Craig, and looking forward to seeing you out in Orlando here in less than a month. It's coming up fast, and enjoy, take care, and we'll see each other in Orlando.
Great. Thanks for having me on, Kevin. It was a pleasure as always to see you.
And that was Craig Allan with BWS Logistics. Go look him up. Go look up BWS. Come to Orlando. Join us October 28th through 30th at the Hyatt Regency there in Orlando, the convention center. If you haven't registered, register now. You only have a couple of weeks left. Line your ducks up in a row. The conversations that I just had are conversations you could be having with the same type of people. If you come to Orlando, get into action, start networking, because your network is your net worth. And that's what the Broker Carrier Summit will give to you, is the information to make great decisions and the network to make those decisions with. So once again, it's going to be a great time. We have the Battle of the Bands. We have the luncheon lanes. We have a whole host of updates, starting with the FMCSA, and some awesome vendors, starting with TIE Software, the sponsor here at the Road to the Summit. The vendors, as Kaleb was saying, that the vendors that will help you scale your business, if not now, then tomorrow. Whenever that need arises, it's good to have a pulse on the market, and that's what you'll find at the Broker Carrier Summit. So without further ado, if you haven't registered, again, go register now. You go to the brokercarriersummit.com/events and get set up, get your ticket to the summit, get your ticket or drive out to Orlando and kick it with us Halloween week. Great way to end October.